Well, I've been to the library and it's actually quite a hike, which means I'm going to sit in the park and have a little break. This is really the only way I ever get any real exercise. I live close enough to a library to walk to it, but not a short walk. I got a lovely children's book and I got a cooking book because I love reading recipe books, and I got this rather juicy little one called Hidden Libraries, although one has to wonder how hidden they are if they've actually turned up in a book, but I don't think I'll linger too much on that rather unromantic thought. And it's awfully nice to have a break when you've been to the library because, of course, you have something to read. And the other day I was frightfully pleased because I got stuck at the railway crossing while a grain train was going past, because we live in the breadbasket of Australia. It was ever so useful to sit under a tree and just pull out one of my books. It was Paradise Lost by John Milton, and that's a jolly good book. I'm really enjoying it. Although I do wonder if maybe Milton's wife, I know he had a few because a couple died, didn't they? I wonder if one of them was really bossy, because I've just got to the bit where God brings Eve to Adam, and Milton seems to be rather spreading himself on the subject of how, because the fall hasn't happened yet, Eve likes all of Adam's ideas and does exactly what she's told. And I just think it's awfully interesting, isn't it? I'm pretty familiar with the book of Genesis, and that seems like a slight overreach. But who knows? I am really looking forward to a cup of tea and digging into that when I get home. It is a freezing day down here in Australia, and it looks like we might have a storm riding in. But that's fine, because inside it's all nice and cozy, and I'm so excited because when I moved to Australia, about 10 years ago, just the adjustment to a different country and the culture and everything, it was more of an adjustment than I was expecting, and I couldn't read. I mean, I could obviously still could read, but I couldn't read proper books. And probably about 3 weeks ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago, I came down with a mild case of the flu and I couldn't do anything, so I just picked up Lord of the Rings, and lo and behold, I can actually read books again, so it's quite exciting. So getting through Lord of the Rings and Paradise Lost by John Milton, and it feels great to be back reading, and it's just the most perfect day for it. Oh, and Mum's put on a big casserole. That'll do us 2 meals because there's only 3 of us. And oh, look at this. These are our cat plates, because we don't want to use plates that we use for the cats, but they're all Charles Dickens characters. Mum got them, and then when she put them on the wall, they just looked too dated, and she didn't like it. And she wasn't sure what she's going to do with them. I was like, well, they can be the cat plates, because we already have a cat living in the garden called Pickwick, and another cat called Mr. Smallweed. So just all seems a bit perfect, doesn't it? Oh, you know what my favourite scene in the BBC, I think it's the BBC that does it, David Copperfield, and it's not actually in the book, but it's the one time I actually saw something in a film that I like more than the book. And that's at the end where the Macaubers are going down to Australia, and then you see Uriah Heep, and he's in chains, and he's going down as a convict. I think that's a really good edit. And, oh, look at this. Dad was poking around downstairs, and he found these gladioli bulbs, which we haven't planted, so they're really rather pretty. I mean, I like those ones, very pretty. And because it is Australia, we're still getting a few flowers from the garden. So Mum picked the roses because she was pruning the rose bushes. She's cut them back good and hard. And then, so this is how it works in Australia, right? The roses are left over from summer. They're late summer flowers, and the irises are up too early for spring. Such is the life we lead down in the Antipodes. Yes, and my vanity as a florist compels me to inform you that those are not arranged. They're just stuffed in a jar until I get to them. And oh, I have been so naughty. I've got leaves below the waterline again. Not ideal, Ruthie, but you know, what can you do? Sometimes you just don't have time. but I intend to strip those back and do something with them and hopefully put it on my floristry arranging playlist on the channel. So if you're interested in learning to arrange flowers properly, you can arrange flowers however you like. If you want to arrange them to a European standard of professional floristry, you should check out my playlist, because I am in fact a florist trained to European standards. Well, look who's come in from the cold weather and gone to sleep. Strangely next to his bed, not on his bed. I don't know why he does that. And I've just finished typing up his latest blog post for House Lion. I am merely his unworthy secretary. I assure you the thoughts are all his. Although communication and translation can be a struggle, I'm never under any doubt as to how utterly unimpressive he finds me as staff. Now, isn't that colour just marvellous? Sort of yellowy leaves against the grey overcast sky. I absolutely love that. But I had better hurry home, because I think the storm's about to come in. It's been threatening all day. Judging from the sound of the birds, I'd better run. Isn't that tree with the glowering sky just the right amount of creepy? Oh, the rain's really about to come down now. Wonder if I shall beat it home. Author gets sidetracked by a creepy tree. Oh gosh, I better get a move on. I don't want to be almost struck by lightning again, do I? I'm going to forage for olives. I found an olive tree down the street growing on a verge, so I'm going to go and help myself to the ones on the ground. Do you want to come? Puss puss? Do you want to come for walkies? Walkies? He might come. Sometimes he thinks he's a dog. Come on. Puss puss? Walkies? Come on. We'll see if he chases me. He might not. Sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't. But hey, would we expect anything less from a cat? Here I am bustling along to forage olives, and I found this scratched into the dirt. And I don't know if I think it's a spider. But it's actually a jolly good spider. I bet some kid did that. But if you found that in a cave in France, it would be considered an archaeological discovery. I mean, provided you thought it was really old. So I thought we could all enjoy it, because it's really a rather good spider. Considering the canvas and what some kid had to work with. It's not every day you find a large spider scratched into the red earth of Australia. Although large spiders are scarcely a rarity around here. Ooh, exciting. In New Zealand, we forage for feijoas. But I think olives might be a bit of an upgrade, actually. Well, isn't that a charming little harvest? I got 2 kinds. We'll take them home now and begin the process of making them edible. Now, here at ZealAus Publishing in Rosebank House, we're not the greatest gardeners, but we do seem to grow a lovely crop of cats. Here's an orange cat, and here's a chocolate cappuccino cat. And let's see if we can't find another garden-grown cat. Oh, here comes the 3rd garden-grown cat. No, oops. I should not have left that door open. Excuse me, I need to evict her. So this is pretty hilarious. Dad came home from work for lunch and he stood transfixed by these olives and he said, "Oh, where did you get those?" And I was like, "Oh, just at the side of the road." And then he was looking at them very intently and I was like, "Well, you can try one if you want, but I really would." And I was about to say wouldn't. And it was too late. He had one in his mouth and then he spat it out. He's like, oh, what are these? I was like, they're olives, Dad. And he's like, oh, I thought they were grapes. So you can imagine how disappointed he was. I mean, it does look like the most delicious, amazing grape, doesn't it? But no, the olives. And he doesn't really like olives at the best of times. And these ones haven't even been prepared and they're so gross. I mean, I tried one myself, but I wasn't expecting grapes, so I guess it was a very shocking experience for him. Poor Dad. And this week's Bible verse comes from Habakkuk 3:17. Though the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall fruit be in the vines, the labour of the olive shall fail, the field shall yield no meat, the flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord, I will joy in the Lord of my salvation. And I think what that might mean, although I'm not 100% sure, is that even when terrible things happen in our lives, which are outside our control, we can still control whether we trust in God or not. And if we do trust in Him, I think that's actually where we get our resilience. Well, that's what I think it might mean, but you know, like I say, I'm not a Bible scholar, so I'm not sure. But I do think it's extremely beautiful. Although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall fruit be in the vines, the labour of the olive shall fail, the fields shall yield no meat, the flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord, I will joy in the God of my salvation. Oh, look at this, you guys. This is going to seriously mess with Dad's head, because I took the garbage out and I found in the garbage, I found a half-broken plate. And I actually need a broken plate for a short film I'm making. I also need dead flowers, believe it or not. Yes, I indeed am letting them rot away with the greenery to speed up the decay. Okay, to be honest, I never got around to stripping them back. But it turns out that it's just what I need, but I also needed a shattered something. And of course I didn't want to shatter something in the cupboard. I mean, that seems a bit wrong. But there it was. So I shattered it a bit more. And yeah, I should be able to use that later in my short film that requires shattered china and also dead flowers. And yes, that should be quite exciting. And in the meantime, I shall just leave it out to let it intrigue Dad and drive him completely mad. And he'll say, oh, why have we got smashed up china sitting in a plastic container? And I shall say to him, I need it for my YouTube channel. And that won't clarify things one bit. Oh, he's so much fun to tease. Hello all, it's Ruthie in the garden of Rosebank House, because in Australia sometimes our winter days are quite lovely. And I'm just continuing to read Paradise Lost by John Milton, and being kept company by one of the garden lions. And I've got to say, so far I really like this book. And one of the reasons I really like this book is I was very reluctant to touch it for a long time, because there are a lot of commentaries out there that sort of imply that Satan is the hero of the piece. Oh, they can't be British commentaries or British culture adjacent, cultures that are very British in their outlook, because this book is actually extremely funny. And the reality is that Satan is the butt of the joke. He's completely unself-aware. He just spends the whole book, well, I should say, so far, most of the book, and there's actually 2 books in here. So a good half of the book just not getting it and being completely unself-aware, and it's extremely funny. So yeah, so far I highly recommend it. Oh, hello. So yeah, that is my take on the book, is that the humour is extremely British. So although it's got, you know, a lot of people weigh in on it because it's a classic of English literature, and obviously English is spoken by many countries around the world, I think to really appreciate this book you have to keep in mind that it is a very, 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 very British sense of humour. So you just got to look for the jokes. If you've been raised on this kind of humour, you will get it. And if you do get it, I mean, I was reading it and I was just laughing out loud. So yeah, that would be my tip with Paradise Lost by John Milton. Be aware it's extremely funny, but it is distinctively British humour. It is so British and so droll. And sometimes I think people miss it, and they think, oh yes, it's so deep, and it's got some depth to it, that's for sure. But it's also really funny. So if you do pick it up, keep your eyes open for the humour, because I promise you, as someone from a rather British background, it is extremely funny. It is. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. I've been reading Lord of the Rings, and I've been reading Paradise Lost by John Milton, and working on bits and pieces. So yeah, I've been a bit busy this week, so this isn't a particularly long vlog, but again, it has been lovely to have you along, and always appreciate your company, and I hope you have an absolutely lovely weekend, and I hope you find something good to read. Well, I don't have any baking to show you this week because I'm on a little bit of a fruit kick and trying to keep it fresh at the moment. But I thought I'd show you my olives, which I'm just hydrating because I need to go and get a special little doofer, which is called a olive and cherry pitta. It's like a giant, oh gosh, I can't remember, hole punch, but it's for olives, and you just put it in and it goes boop, and then the pit pops out, and then I will be able to start preparing them. I've never done this before, but I've definitely been around people who have done it, so it shouldn't go too badly, and I'm really looking forward to it. Anyway, that has been the daily doings at Rosebank House. Thank you so much for watching. We at ZealAus Publishing would all like to wish you a very happy weekend. That's me, Mum, Dad, the house lion, and sometimes the garden lions, who are becoming quite cunning about sneaking in. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.